All right, the most important real estate update of 2022 as we head into tax week here in April. So I get the privilege of sitting down with none other than Kate Rossi. Kate Rossi is a powerhouse in the real estate market. She started her career in the 1970s. Her first year in business in 1970s, by the way, she did over 100,000, which is in and of itself immensely inspiring, and I feel like just speaks volumes as to her work ethic and her knowledge and maneuvering through real estate for years and years and years now, about 40 years in the business. She now oversees about 22,000 realtors within the Realogy Corporation under Cole Banker here, and covers a variety of states, many of which are our feeder markets, from Pennsylvania to Ohio, the Carolinas, of course, all feeding down into our beautiful sunshine state of Florida. And she's going to give us some immense words of wisdom as we kind of maneuver through these uncharted waters with the rise of interest rates, sellers not knowing if they should, move from their homes where they've created memories, should they leverage this market, where are they going to go, and more. Stay tuned for today's real estate update with Kate Rossi. So Kate Rossi is in the house. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled.
Thank you. So big powerhouse at Cole Banker, executive VP, Eastern region of the entire United States. She oversees 22,000 agents, as I said. And so you see trends from around the country, and a lot of our feeder markets, Ohio, Pennsylvania, the Carolinas. So what are you seeing on those markets and how it's going to affect Florida? Because again, these people are coming down to Florida.
Right. I think the greatest thing Florida has going for it is the whole atmosphere of it, the tax structure, the positivity. People want to live in Florida now. Taxes are very, very important to a lot of people, and they're increasing all over the place and getting nothing for it. Right. I mean, we've seen a benefit in our schools, our social area, the arts, everything in Florida has just escalated over the past several years. So it's really a place to gravitate to. So, and the weather, you can't beat the weather.
The sun's always shining.
No, you can't.
Okay, everybody wants to know, sellers on the edge of, do I leverage this market? Do I want to move my family? Do I want to move out of Florida? Do I want to stay here? And then the question of, where do I go if you do stay in the area? How would you address that? What would you advise, actually, more importantly, sellers or people wanting to possibly sell, and move out of their life, leverage the market? What would you say to those people?
I would say do it now. I've been doing this 40 years.
You have.
And at the end of the day, I've never seen these past 2 years, when you would stop and think about COVID and what it did to the United States completely, real estate took off. Mm-hmm. And I think people that can work from anywhere now are choosing where they want to live, not where their job is located. So we've got an influx. I believe it's 963 people a day moving here. Mm-hmm. So if you're on the edge about selling your home,
listen to this woman.
Think about this. It's the biggest investment most people will ever have in a lifetime. And quite frankly, what I'm telling people, for a short-term inconvenience, for a long-term net gain, why in the world wouldn't you do it now? I'll give you a personal example of myself. I taught a class down here in Sarasota, and the next day I had a realtor knock on my door and say, Miss Rossi, we'd love to sell your house. We have buyers that want your neighborhood and all the other good stuff. And I said, but I'm not interested in selling. I had no intention of selling my property. But after everything's said and done, he said, what if I got you X? And he got me X. And so when I stop and think about it, I'm not stupid. If I can get a long-term investment gain on something that was my biggest investment that I had at the moment, why wouldn't I do it? I think a lot of sellers are saying, where will I go?
Right.
There's rentals, there's, lease backs. People are being very creative right now. And so even if you don't have a large gain, but you have, let's just say 25, 50,000, 100,000 that you could go put in the bank, rent for a little amount of time, find something, because I did find something. Within a week's time, I found something. I wasn't even looking for it. So I bought a condo, and when the market dies down, I'll probably buy another big house. But after everything's said and done, I have that investment socked away, earning money for myself, and then I can go purchase something else. So I would tell a seller, don't hesitate.
Right.
Because now is the time to do it.
So you took the money and maybe invested it in other assets like the stock market or whatever your portfolio you have.
Yep.
Okay. And then you're still gaining the interest on it, right? Meanwhile, you
Right.
either pay cash or have a really low interest rate, because we could segue now into the interest rates bumping up.
Yeah.
So I think some people are getting nervous about that, especially the first-time buyers, the millennials, right? We've got answers for you on that because, as an agent or with, of course, Coldwell Banker here, really experienced, we have such a network of our clients, our past clients, and potential sellers. So we have an answer for that, right?
Correct.
So with the rates going up, though, how would you address that, particularly for that segment of the kind of, I would say, under 500, especially buyers right now?
If I had a crystal ball and to figure out when the interest rates were going to escalate to the max or low, but right now it's still very affordable. When I started, interest rates were 18%.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone says, oh, it's up to 4%, that is still the cheapest money I've ever seen in my lifetime to borrow on. However, the first-time home buyer might not be able to buy as much home.
Correct.
But they'll still be able to buy a home for a very attractive interest rate. But I say to people when they want to buy, that is the time. Because you look in any one of your neighborhoods, any one of them, 10 years ago, what was that house worth? And what is it worth today? And I've heard this time and time again from people saying, wish I would have bought 12 at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Because real estate always goes up. It may drop a little, but it always escalates in the long run.
Right.
So if you have the money, and there's so many programs out there, 5% down, 10% down, 20% down, depending on what you want. But if you have the money invested in a home, even if it's not your permanent home for the first-time home buyer, save it a while, keep it, instead of paying rent, and then it'll escalate, go buy something else. But it's the interest rates are very low.
Historically so low. And for people that are writing offers and offers and offers, it's got to be super frustrating. Thankfully, I haven't had too much experience with that, but you hear stories over and over again. Now we have the Red Arrow program, the Ribbon program, whereby they can almost present what's almost like a cash offer to hopefully leverage those people. Any other advice for buyers right now in this market?
Well, you know what? I think you're not going to get, everybody's looking for a buy. Everyone's looking for a deal. And I think if you're working with a trusted real estate agent, hopefully a Coldwell Banker agent, that's why you want to use an agent. They're going to find the properties for you, but don't try to be the negotiator at this point in time, because the sellers do have the leverage right now because there's a lack of inventory. When there's a lack of inventory, the sellers have the leverage. That's why it's time to sell. But when there's more houses out there and less buyers, then it's a buyer's market. Right now it is a seller's market. But I would not come in with these crazy offers. I mean, they've got to come in as strong as possible. And I also would say don't get disappointed, because I've learned in my career, if it was meant to be, it'll happen.
True.
And another one will come along. You just can't get frustrated. You have to trust your real estate agent to guide you.
Absolutely. And I guess if a seller or potential seller was considering moving out of the home that they've created memories in and all of this good stuff, and they want to talk to a few different agents, like what are the questions you would advise them if they are talking to several agents? Like what would be like the top few questions you'd want to ask your potential real estate agent partner?
I think it's a people business, and I think they could ask all the questions in the world, but if they don't connect with that real estate agent, sometimes it's just kismet. It's how they feel about that person. But I would ask about negotiating skills. I think when someone goes in very weak and the seller demands all kind of stuff, which sometimes that happens, hard to believe.
Never had that happen, Kate.
And the agent caves into every demand. The agent should be the strong negotiator. They should stay firm on their conviction. And a lot of times people discuss commission, blah, blah, blah. That gets me so upset, because I think to myself, if you're going to hire a pro, you should pay for the pro. and you get what you pay for.
Absolutely.
So sometimes if somebody's just looking for a discount or whatever, they should try to do it themselves if they're going to do that. Work with a pro. The pro gets you what you want. They get you what you need. And so the questions are normally personality. I would just say how they connect with
it's a feeling. It's a feeling. I mean, people don't walk into a Porsche dealership and expect, to be waiting in the lobby or whatever the case is. So I think a lot of it, like the service matters, and maybe looking at reviews of the past clients. So, you can pump yourself up so much, but listening to the actual people that have worked with that agent is probably important too.
Right, and I think testimonials are big. I just think right now, working with a professional real estate agent that knows your market is going to get you your best dollar, and it's your biggest investment most people will ever have, and you shouldn't discount it.
Absolutely. And any last words of advice as I guess it's tax week this week in 2022, April 11th here, and any advice for just the general public as we kind of move through these uncharted waters again in 2022 here?
Well, if you are getting a refund, invest it in real estate because it'll grow for you. If you're not getting a refund, use your home as a deduction. You can do an investment property and do certain things that you can deduct on your taxes. So real estate is still your best buy, whether you pay tax or don't pay taxes at the end of the year. It's a great investment, and everyone should do it.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
That's right.
Kate, thank you so much.
Thank you.